Welcome to Truck and Chubby Sports, where we back in our yapping, we ain't never capping, not subtracting, so what's happening? This ain't the coaches and pros, the X's and O's, this is the fans' point of view, and what you know. This ain't the coaches and pros, the X's and O's, this is the fans' point of view, and what I know. This ain't the coaches and pros, the X's and O's, this is the fans' point of view, and what we know. This ain't the coaches and pros, the X's and O's, this is the fans' point of view, and what we know. So let's go. Yo, what's going on? What's going on, everybody? I got a great guest about to join us here on the Fans Point of View podcast. Gave me my start. The guy who is the best out there in Boulder, Colorado. He's been on every podcast show there is up out there. He got his own show about the Broncos. He got his own show about the Colorado Buffaloes. He probably got a show about you. Nah, I'm just playing. But that's my guy, man. And I want everybody out there to give him a warm welcome for David Talks Buffs. Let's go.
Wow, Chubby. Thanks for having me on. And man, I love the song. I love the intro.
Word.
Man, that sounds awesome, man. I love what you're doing with the place.
I'm trying, man. I'm trying, but I'm trying to get up on your level, dog. I'm trying to get on your level, big bro. I appreciate you being here right now, man. I'm ecstatic. You know what I mean? I'm honored to have you up on here right now, man, to interview you, bro. So, like, I know you. We talk about sports and everything, and that's what we do. And maybe we'll talk a little bit of that. But I want my audience and people that may not know you out there to get to know who David is outside of David Talks Buffs a little bit, if you don't mind. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so tell us a little bit about where you from and where you grew up.
Okay, yeah. Let's get to where it all started. Yeah, so kind of funny. I was born outside of Houston, Texas, but my dad got a new job when I was 1, and so I was raised in Northern Illinois like my whole life until I graduated high school. So I grew up about an hour north of downtown Chicago, and so again, a lot of my life kind of revolves around sports. So being around Bears fans, Bulls fans, Blackhawks fans, Cubs and Sox fans, Packers fans, all of that. But I'm a middle child. Maybe that makes some sense to some of you guys,
Yeah.
But I have an older and younger sister, and I'm a middle child, so that might make sense on maybe why I do certain things, for attention, maybe why I might have a sense of humor, some different things like that, or why, sometimes I just don't care about being as buttoned up as maybe some of our other friends on here. It's just maybe it's the middle child energy.
Yeah. Word. I mean, how was that growing up in Chicago for you though? Like in Chicago, like was it, with all the crime and everything that going up out there? Like, how was that for you growing up out in Chicago, man?
It was great. Of course, as being about an hour north of the city, there's not nearly as much crime or anything like that.
Right.
But I would go down to the city quite a bit growing up, and it was a lot of fun because compared to where I lived in Texas or where I live out here now in Colorado, the public transit was really good out there. So there would be times where my friends and I, even in middle school or whatever, we would hop on the train, for a day. If we had an off day from school or down in the summer, and we just spend all day, downtown, walking through the different stores. If you remember, they're all closed now. I don't know if you've ever been to one, Chubby, but the ESPN zone. I don't know if you knew this, but ESPN in some of the larger cities, they used to have like their own restaurants, kind of in a style like, I guess, maybe slightly like a higher end B
Yeah.
Dubs, kind of like a Dave and Buster's type thing. So
Oh,
that was
okay. All
what,
right.
yeah, like me and my friends, like we would go down and go do that, and of course, like do the other, I guess you would say like typical touristy things, going to see some of the landmarks, going to see Lake Michigan and all of that. But it was cool, I guess it was a different time. I don't know if like parents still let their kids do that, but yeah, like our parents and my friends' parents, they were cool with it. They would just drop us off at the train station in the morning. And then, but when we're home at some point after dark, we show up, we give them a little call on our flip phones, and they come get us from the train station, man. So, man, it was a lot of fun. And you see certain things on those trains, for the first,
Yeah.
so you see people drinking after their miserable 9 to 5 jobs, and
Yeah.
with the paper bags. You can see drug use every now and then. So being a kid from the suburbs, that always kind of raised my eye sometimes when you're seeing those things. But also, this was before you had like smartphones and stuff like
Yeah.
that. So of course you had MP3 players, but a lot of the times, like people are bringing books on the trains, or hey, they might be listening to something, but um, a lot of the times, like people are just there chilling, and you can have conversations with other people. So a little bit different than kind of how our world is now, or even how I am, man. It was just it was just a lot of fun, man.
Right.
Doing some of those train rides with my friends growing up, and it was a good place to grow up. But man, I'm done. I'm done with the Midwest winters. I'm done with it. I'm done with the humid, the humidity next to Lake
Yeah.
Michigan. I'm done with the lake effect snow. You will not ever see me, Chubby, move back to the Midwest or ever in the Northeast. That kind of weather just is not for the faint of heart,
Right.
and I'm not tough enough for it.
How'd you get up there? How'd you end up in Boulder, man? Tell me a little bit about that journey. How'd you end up all the way up there? You said you grew up north, like downtown Chicago area, right? Correct?
So I grew up north suburbs of Chicago, so
Right.
about
Okay.
an hour north. But yeah, I'm out here now. I've lived in Colorado for, I want to say, 6 years, but I did a 7-year pit stop in West Texas. So I when I was graduating high school, didn't really have a huge idea of what I wanted to do. So I was kind of looking into, okay, do I want to pursue like the sports journalism thing? And that's kind of another rabbit hole I'm sure we can get down to at some point. But my grandpa was he taught at a small college out in Texas called Abilene Christian University. It's in Abilene, Texas, which is like 3 hours west of Dallas. So just
Yeah.
consider it like in between Lubbock and
Okay.
Dallas, like that kind of
Mhm.
area. And yeah, I decided, you know what, I will go there. Um, and so I moved down to West Texas, and I lived there for 7 years, um, which was definitely interesting. Believe it or not, Chubby, I was actually, I guess, what you would call like a theology major, or a um, religious
Word.
studies. Yeah, like I was taking like some Bible classes. I was like training to become a pastor, and maybe going and getting my MDiv and all of that. But I
Oh yeah.
really
So
loved
you
the
could drop
program.
something on us, huh? You could
Yeah.
drop it on us, huh?
So like I
Okay.
was learning all that ancient Greek, and I could read it. And I'm really into philosophy. I'm really into like thinking about life, thinking about those things. But I love doing it. I love going through the program. But when it was getting kind of towards my senior year or whatever, I had most of my credits done. I was just a part-time student my senior year. Um, but I just kind of realized, man, the pulpit life was not really the one for me.
Okay.
You know,
Okay.
but overall it was still great. And I used that time as I was graduating. I was a manager of a small coffee shop out there. And then after about a year and a half doing that, ran a business, a mobile coffee business with a friend of mine for a couple years.
Is that where you was
And
meeting all them chicks at the coffee shop? That's where you was
well,
meeting them at?
well,
You
funny
was there?
enough, man, I guess I did the I did the typical Christian college thing, and I think I got married. It must have been, yeah, about a year after I
Hey,
graduated college. So
hey,
I've been married for seven
hey.
years, I think.
Dope.
Yeah,
That's dope, man. Hey,
yeah,
hey, hey, that's super dope, bro. That's dope. Congratulations.
yeah.
Hold up. Did you meet your wife at the coffee shop though? Was it there?
No, I just met her at school. She was one of my
All right.
friends, and then, I mean, you know how it all happens. So,
Yeah.
we've been married for since 2016. So I guess this year will be 8 years. She's from San Antonio, so we got a lot of family down there. Where we travel San Antonio quite a bit, and yeah. But I was running this business with a friend of mine. I was also working another job, so like I've had a
What
lot of
business was that?
interesting jobs. Oh,
What
sorry,
kind
go
of
ahead.
business? What kind of business was that? No, you're good. What kind of business was you running?
So it was a very simple business. As I'm drinking my coffee here, it was straight up like if you've ever had like a pour over coffee, like if you've had somebody make it with like a kettle and it might the
Explain
coffee
that a little
grounds.
bit. How you do the pour over? What is that? Is that just the filter over top of the cup, old school
Yeah,
style?
yeah,
Oh,
that
okay.
kind of stuff.
Okay.
So me and my buddy, we do that by the cup. So we would like set up shop, uh, at different places in Abilene, different boutiques or stores downtown, or for different events. We just vend by the cup, and then we did like some different weddings, some larger,
Mhm.
like private parties, university like fraternity, sorority type things. We would vend for, and yeah, it was a lot of fun. So yeah, we did that for a couple years. I mean, it didn't
Okay.
make great money doing it in West Texas, but it was, I mean, it was very important for the rest of my career.
Sounds dope.
Yeah. So this is another story, but we got into business with a guy who wanted to invest and open up like a brick and mortar, like real coffee shop.
Yeah.
And it was called Poor Man's. Our business was called Poor Man's, but it was a play on words, not POOR. We were POUR. So kind of a
Nope.
funny thing because we were, two broke college guys. My mom had moved down from Illinois to Abilene around the time that I was finishing up college to take care of her dad,
Mhm.
my grandpa. And so she was around. So man, we built this really cool looking stand, and it would like collapse. It would be easy to take apart. So we
Yeah.
would like travel around in my mom's blue minivan, man, and we would
Cool. The
set that thing
minivan.
up.
Oh,
We'd
the
Yeah,
minivan.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. It had the automatic doors, and everything. It was really
Okay.
nice.
Okay.
And yeah, man, we loved it. But we got into business with this guy, and this is where I first learned like real sound business stuff just by making mistakes. Guys, always Google the names of the people that want to invest with you, because you might find out they might have touched a kid or two.
Mhm.
That just happens. So um literally this could be another podcast episode to go through all the lessons that I learned during this time. But we worked with this guy for probably about 6 months, and there was just a lot of things that he was lying about, a lot of things that we weren't comfortable with. And basically, the little money that we had saved, through the stand or whatever, went to our attorney on getting us out of that arrangement. So
Right.
we're like 23, 24 years old, and I think at that point, I had learned a lot with my first business, but it wasn't. I didn't want to stick around and try it again in West Texas. Yeah, Lex and I, we were ready to do something new, move somewhere else, try, just do something. So
Nice.
I got accepted to graduate school to go to CU. So in 2018 is when we moved out here,
Okay.
and yeah, so that was the main reason. One, it had always been a dream of mine to live in Colorado. My aunt, when she was alive, she lived out here, and we would come here every year and visit her, and we'd spend time up in the mountains and
Rest in
all of
peace.
that. So man, like I I loved it. Like I've always thought it was beautiful. Always been on my bucket list to live out here. So applying to CU, it I was hoping that I would get accepted. I applied to Colorado as well as University of Denver for my master's in business administration. And man, I got to be honest, man. Like I got some terrible test scores, Chubby, man.
Really?
Later came to find out that I have ADHD. I was one of these, I guess, adults that was diagnosed later in life because I was always like in these classes where they're like accelerated, right? But I was
Okay.
always like one of the low performing students in like these classes.
Okay.
So maybe that's how I fell, between the cracks or whatever. But I will say this: everybody in my cohort that I've asked like what their GMAT test score was and like all this stuff, dude, nobody had a score as low as mine. But I think my experience that I had with this business and also running that cafe, as well as with that business falling through, Chubby. Again, life
Yeah.
is all about who you know. I got the mayor of Abilene, this small little town about the size of
Word.
Boulder.
Right.
He personally wrote me a letter of recommendation to the university to be admitted to
Oh,
CU.
that
And I'd
was
like to
good.
think that helped me get admitted because my
Yeah.
test scores weren't great.
Well, I mean that, and you ran your own business too. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
you already had that real life experience. You probably in class like, what the fuck? Like I know how to run a business. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I get that. I get that. I do. I get it. So you up at CU, you going to school, you going to classes. So walk me through. I know we see videos of CU and around there, but like, how was the atmosphere up there at the on campus and stuff? You know what I mean? How was life for you on campus when you went there, when you attended CU?
man, it was beautiful, man. It was everything that I'd kind of hoped of. When I was living in Texas, of course, we were getting a lot more space for what we were paying for, but couldn't actually afford to move out to Boulder proper because it's just expensive. So we settled kind of in between Denver and Boulder, but still,
That's
during
cool.
my time in graduate school, Lex and I, yeah, we're living in a 1-bedroom apartment together, paying $1,100 a month for 475 square feet. So, like, that was a big adjustment
Sheesh.
because we were getting big places for that out in West Texas,
Yeah,
and but I tell people this all the time is just, hey, if you want to be outside, it, there's a lot to do, and if you're willing to get outside, like you won't be as frustrated with the smaller spaces to live in. And so yeah, being out in Boulder, man, it's beautiful. Like most of my times going to class, I would be in classes just like undergrad, normal students are on, they're on campus in the mornings and afternoons. So what I would do is I would drive out to, we got a bus station out here by the mall on the highway that leads you into Boulder,
yeah,
36. And I just hop on that bus every day and it would take me straight to campus. So always been a big fan of using, public transit when you can. And what I loved about doing graduate school at CU was the fact that like my program or the people who were, getting their masters with me,
yeah.
it's like 100 people in my cohort.
Damn.
So you get
Okay.
to know a lot of people. You're taking classes with a lot of the same people, all of that.
Okay.
But CU is still a school that has like I think like 30, 40,000 students there every year, and so you still get that big school type feeling. So an atmosphere. So having tickets to the student games. The campus is nice and it's beautiful. There's people everywhere, and I really love my time there. But man, it was a straight up grind because I was always working as well as doing this full time to earn my master's. So not a
Oh,
ton of time to really hang out and do a bunch of extracurriculars because I was working on weekends and stuff like
right.
that. But
Mm-hmm.
uh, yeah,
Gotcha.
my friends probably partied more than I did, just because like I was straight hustling, trying to,
Yeah, that's what it is.
I
And
always trying to, make
remember what
enough
Drake
money to
said?
live off of and whatnot. But yeah,
Remember what
it
Drake
all worked
said?
out. Yeah,
You remember what Drake said, dog? He said, "While all my friends out partying, I'm just here making all the music that they party to." That's what. So you was out there working, you know what I'm saying, while they was partying. It is what it is, Dave. But go ahead, can finish, man.
Yeah,
Continue.
man, like it was an awesome experience. I learned so much during that program. It was really a sprint, and I'd always cheered for Colorado growing up. My dad raised me as a Colorado sports fan. Um,
Okay.
Definitely Denver Broncos. That was like the main thing. And then we'd watch CU, when they were on, mainly during the Dan Hawkins era. But of course, we wouldn't always get their games out in the Midwest. But yeah, definitely took my fanhood to another level once moving here to Colorado and going to the school. And I mean, the 2 years, it absolutely flew by. I was there at school from 2018 to 2020. And this is funny enough, like things kind of come full circle. I worked some different jobs, some different internships throughout that time, always kind of within these startups or entrepreneurial type ventures. But, my second year of the program, I love coffee. So I had actually had a little popcorn popper that was like modified to where it was allowed to get hotter so I could like start roasting my own coffee.
Okay.
And so I started to kind of learn how to roast, and I would take my coffee into a local coffee shop out here in
Hmm.
Lafayette called Otis, and I would work with their roaster on just like understanding like what I would need to do with the heat or the time in order
Okay.
to get coffee to the flavor profile that I would be aiming for. And so it kind of just started out as something where I would show up with coffee every now and then, and we would drink some, and he would, teach me some things. Well, then it turned into like I'm actually helping him roast certain things, and I'm going on delivery runs and all of this stuff. And then, he got upset and ended up quitting, but the owner was out in Seattle at the time. So he really needed, and guys, again, this is just a lesson in life is just all about timing and opportunity and, playing the game of business. But yeah, like uh, that owner flew in and had this conversation with me. He's like, I know that you're a student, you're going to school full time or whatever, but he's like, I really need you to like be in here 30 hours a week. And I said, man, like, you got to know that this is going to affect my schoolwork. I'm going to have barely any time for like, things outside of school and this. And so, dude, I mean, I asked for, I think I was getting paid like minimum wage in Colorado is probably like $13 an hour, something like that.
Yeah.
And, I think I negotiated for around, it must have been about a doubling of that, around $32 an hour, which was
All
really
right.
good money for being part time. But I was like, listen, man, like if you're gonna have me in here like all weekends, like roasting all this coffee, I said, man, you're gonna have to pay up for it because I don't
Damn
want to,
right.
like you got to make the money worth it for
Yeah.
me to like want to do this. So,
Right.
yeah, he ended up agreeing to that, and yeah, so most of my second year at school I was also doing that close to full time while trying to figure out what was going on with me after I graduated. But then the pandemic hit, and that's kind of when things got crazy. Man, what were you doing during the pandemic, man? Did they keep you at home, or were you out there?
I was out there on the road during the pandemic. I was
Yeah.
on the road when the pandemic happened. Yeah, so I was still out there on the road. But so is that when you had started up your channel during the pandemic? Yep.
Nah, it was still a little while away. So when 2020 happened, yeah, like it sucked because um I mean, I when it comes to like aiming for the types of jobs that I was aiming for, whether that's like, doing market research work, interviewing work, like those types of things where like I'm asking customers and focus groups questions
Yeah.
and stuff like that. Um, everybody had been laid off, so everything's just very competitive compared to somebody who kind of looks like in my career, I did one thing, then I went to graduate school, and now it kind of looks like I'm doing a pivot because I loved coffee, but the reason I kind of went to graduate school is so I could kind of branch out and do some different things. And so, yeah, I was unemployed for a while. and I I drove Amazon trucks for a while.
Oh boy.
You know, as I was still interviewing, as I was trying to find work. So I did that for like a few months, and man, guys, when you leave snacks out for your delivery drivers, you know, like during the holidays,
That's
especially,
the
like,
dopest.
dude, that literally made my
That's the
day, man.
dopest.
Like doing that every day when yeah, when it's cold outside. And I mean, you know, like those jobs, you know, they're physical, man. They can take a toll on your body. You got to make sure you're packing good lunches and all that. You got to make sure you got a bottle to pee in, because Amazon is not giving you time off to go use the bathroom. So I mean, you've seen the headline articles. I can neither confirm, well,
Man,
I cannot deny, I'll say I cannot deny that. You know, that's
I
all I'll
gotta
say.
look, man. Look. That's crazy. You say that. This interview is about you. I wanted to interview you, and when you said that Amazon, man, you know I was working here, right? So,
No.
situation happened. Some situation just happened, and I got let go. Um, I've been thinking about putting it out as like a little bit of content and everything. You know, I kind of got cursed out, and they
Mhm.
kind of blaming me. It's a whole court case now. Got summons to go. It's like it's crazy. I'm gonna talk to you a little bit about it, but it's wild, and I understand because how that delivery job work. I definitely understand. Like they don't give you enough
Mhm.
time, but that's a whole subject for a whole nother day, man. It's wild, man. So, like, okay, so I know you was telling us about, you started telling us about how you became a CU fan and all of that. You was about to get into when
Yeah.
you started your podcast and all of that.
Yes.
So what are you
Yeah.
doing right now for work and all that?
Yeah. So I'll kind of get into that. So, yeah, like over the last, few years since 2020 happened, I've obviously kept a big eye on what's been happening here with everything, not only at CU, but with the Broncos, with the Nuggets. Like Lex and I, like we go to a ton of Nuggets games, like ever since we moved here. So that's like our thing. We're going to one tomorrow too. And I've bounced around and doing some different jobs, mainly in project management, working for different like ad companies, or right now I work at this branding firm that does some pretty interesting work. But
You out here grinding.
around this time, say what?
I said
Yeah,
you out
I'm
here
definitely
grinding.
out here grinding, just trying to make a dollar, right? And trying to pay my rent, maybe save a little bit too. And okay, so around this time last year, of course, Coach Prime was hired. Deion Sanders brought in here, man, which was a dream come true because, I was at school when Mel Tucker left, and that was just a huge bummer because we went 5-7 that first year with him. But you probably hear about it: Brendan Rice, Christian Gonzalez, who first round draft pick for the Patriots, like bringing in some really good recruiting talent that I was very excited about, and he ends up leaving. That was a big deal, and just kind of how CU got to being as bad as they were, with him kind of being one and done and leaving in February, or yeah, it was February of 2020. And anyways, so that, rewind to this time last year. It's early January. It's during the holidays, right? I'm watching all sorts of YouTube channels talking about CU, Coach Prime, all of that. Like, I'm learning so much, and I'm like enjoying it so much because Chubby, I mean, there was like one podcast that talked about the Buffs that I could like listen to throughout every year. And you probably know who those guys are. DMVR. I mean, those guys were the guys. They were like the
Bert and
only
Ernie.
boys. Yeah, exactly. Bert and Ernie, yes.
Bert
I
and
mean,
Ernie.
they used to have at the time
Hmm.
Henry Chisholm on there, who's now on their Broncos team. So it would
Okay.
be Henry and RK. Jake just came in before this, before the 2022 season, if I
Yeah.
remember correctly. So,
All right.
anyways, like that would be my only source of Buffs content. So it was fantastic that I saw all these other YouTube channels popping up talking about the Buffs, because I'm like, good Lord, like you look at all these other fan bases and they have so many content creators. Like Oklahoma has one of the strongest YouTube podcast communities out there. And, I'd always wondered, like, man, it would just be so cool if CU could ever have that type of community where there's just a lot of people out here making all sorts of content. Because I just want to talk about the Buffs, just like I do the Broncos or the Nuggets, right? My teams. That's what I want. And so, funny thing was that I was on at this company that I was working at. I was on one client. It was a really big company, so you would just be devoted to one client. So I was working on Red Robin stuff. So during that time and briefly after, like, hey, if they had like a special limited time offering for a season or a quarter or their menu, like, we touch those things. We name the items. We design the menus. We design and make all the different collateral that's sent out there for the marketing initiatives to promote stuff. So it was pretty cool work and quite tasty. When I'd get to go in and taste different burgers and stuff they would have for us at Red Robin. But around the time Deion Sanders was hired, Red Robin also got a new, I don't know if it was a new CEO and CMO, Chief Marketing Officer, but it was definitely a new CMO. And so normally when that happens, if you've worked at agencies, you know that usually they're going to cut bait with whatever agency that they're using, and they're going to go and, hire their friends or hire another agency that they've already used in the past with. So this CMO came over from Torchy's Tacos, and once we knew that it was happening, everybody could kind of see what the writing was on the wall. So funny enough, though, when
I first heard you, the first Buff channel I heard. So I did, no, for real. And then I found DNVR after I found you. But I didn't like what they was like. I don't want to say that. I didn't like what they was talking about. Like, I mean, they would talk, but then like when some shit went on, it was like they coddled to it. Like they was afraid to say the shit that was happening. You know what I'm saying? And I couldn't rock that. I couldn't rock with that kind of, you know what I mean? I couldn't. I just couldn't get into that. I couldn't feel that. I'm like, damn, like you can't say that. Like you literally cannot say that. They weren't blocking or some shit like that. But anyway, I found you first, and I was rocking with you heavy, man. And
I appreciate that. But so, what you're alluding to is kind of like what got me thinking about, should I start this thing? But the reason I was bringing up the Red Robin stuff was because we got let go when Christmas happened. So that it's on my mind, like, man, I'm about to get laid off. And at this point, been through this a couple times, like with the line of work that I'm in, it's just, you got to be comfortable with just the unknown. But I'm not going to say, I hope I don't implicate myself with this, but I had a very good friend of mine who's an employment attorney always tell me this: if you feel like you're going to get fired or laid off, always go on medical leave. And funny enough, I was, being evaluated for, ADHD, some like an anxiety disorder, maybe short-term memory. My memory isn't that great because I noticed like it was affecting my work performance in some ways. And I had just gotten like a formal diagnosis on having ADHD. So I was like, hell yes, this is wonderful timing because ADHD is protected federally for like a federal medical leave. So I was able to get all this stuff granted. And while all my friends are getting laid off after the new year starts, I have 3 months where I have time off, experimenting with medication, trying to find the right one on, full-time pay, so I'm just chilling for 3 months.
Damn. And, so what you do? You just popping all kinds of pills over that motherfucker.
Yeah, right. It's so funny.
Sweat. Woo! Pop a mile out sweat.
Man, I will say the first thing that they put me on, because I don't know if you know this, Chubby, like they try not to put you on Adderall immediately because so many people are on Adderall. And so they had me trying some different things at first. Okay. And man, I was getting massive brain fog. I was like losing my freaking mind. So like the fact that I couldn't imagine like experimenting with this stuff and finding what was right for me while I was having to go to work because, man, it just wasn't good. But anyways, the other reason you go on medical leave is because, say you're gone for 3 months and then you come back.
Yeah.
If they fire you or lay you off immediately after you come back, that also makes them liable for discrimination. And so they have to keep you on for another like 3 to 6 months. So I knew that I was like a dead man walking from the time the new year started at that particular company. And I wasn't laid off till like mid-June. So um it all kind of works its way out. But I'm sitting at home. It's January, it's February, and my doctor had been telling me, it would be good for you to have like some routine. So, making sure whether you're looking or interviewing for new jobs, having a set time to do that, having a set time, every day to work out or exercise, stuff like that. And then I thought, hey, this could add to that. I'd always wondered, what would have happened, Chubby, if I had stuck with this little YouTube channel that I started when I was 15 years old, just talking about the Denver Broncos when we traded Jay Cutler and got Kyle Orton, and we started out 6-0 under Josh McDaniels, and then failed to make the playoffs and all that. Man, it was crazy. I think we lost 10 straight, something like that. And I'd done that YouTube channel for a while, but people are just assholes. You're an insecure 15, 16-year-old, and like, I don't know. It just took a lot of the fun out of it for me. And so I stopped doing it. But I'd always wondered, like, a guy that kind of started up around the same time I was on YouTube, or started on YouTube, was this guy, Brandon Perna, who runs That's Good Sports. I don't know if you've ever heard of him. But he has, I think, over 200,000 subscribers now. He's hilarious. He mainly does NFL content. And I'd always wondered, like, man, if I had stuck with that, where would I be? Would I be working for myself or all this stuff?
You on your way, man. You on your way.
You're never too late to start, right? And so I just decided, you know what? Screw it, man. I'm just going to put myself out there. I feel like you said, with the other Buffs content creators, we had DNVR. RK was a student. He went to undergrad there. And, Jake had recently been brought on to the DNVR team, which was great. But outside of that, we didn't really have much local voices. We had Alpine Garage, who's another local Boulder guy here. But I thought, hey, even though I wasn't like an undergrad student here, I can probably add some interesting context, having been to the school. And, I've always loved how, like, so many of the people I collaborate with, like, they know so much about Deion Sanders that I don't know. And so I think that I've just been able to just be another voice to give people another option, to listen to throughout their day, because I'm just like pretty much everybody else. I'm listening to something Buffs related, if I'm working or whatever, if I'm not making videos. But that's kind of how it all started out, honestly, was that, I was given some time off from work, and I kind of had the mental capacity to devote some time to it. And then it just became a lot of fun, man. Like,
it is.
Yeah, man. So thanks for listening to me ramble for a little bit, but that's kind of how I got to starting the channel.
Yeah, that's dope, man. Hey, look, shoot, I love it, dog. I love it out here, man. Like, all these other channels, like, there's so many of them out here, man. And I see that, we all support each other out here. And that's even makes it even doper, the fact that once you get to know people out here, they support you in that, and that makes it all better. You know what I mean? The only I'll talk about that a little bit later. But right now, I'm trying to keep away from that stuff right now. But look, I'll get into all that, all the other stuff later when you're not here. I want to keep this is a David Talks Buff interview. Want people to know a little bit about David, your personality, who you are outside of sports. You know what I'm saying? That's all it is, bro. But
okay.
Go ahead. What was you about to say, Dave?
Well, I was like, if you want to hear a little bit more about my life, like, outside of sports,
like, bro, I definitely got a whole list of questions. Like, bro, what's your hobbies? What you like to do? Snowboard? What? Ski? Skateboard? What?
Man, I love this, man. So it's funny, man. I'm out here in Colorado, but I'm not one of these like super outdoorsy people,
Okay.
man. I forget, Chubby. Can I swear on your channel? Is that okay? I don't want to get
Hell
you
yeah.
demonetized or anything like that, dude.
Hell yeah.
Fuck camping, man. Fuck camping. I hate that shit. If you're gonna spend a whole weekend out away from home in nature, why the hell are you choosing to sleep on the ground or on a fucking log? I hate camping.
It's
I'm
not
not
about
doing
that
that.
though. Like it's not
No.
about that. It's about being secluded in the woods with a chick, right? With your wife, right? And then that way you could just bend her over a log real quick, get outside the car, go find a log real quick, like bend that ass over, girl. Come here. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Nah, man. That's why I just go with the cabins, man.
the cabins.
I go with the cabins. I do that. I do like
Them
getting
tents they
outdoors,
got
but
now, Dave, is crazy. Have you seen some of the tents they got now?
I
The
know,
tents they had
but
were crazy. They got outlets in them motherfuckers. You ain't even gotta put a tent together no more. I think you just pull it out the bag, unfold it, and push a button, and it just rises up and shit. Like
it's just not me. And then with like all the skiing and stuff like that, like I don't have any of the gear. Snowboarding, it's a super fucking expensive hobby. Like if you don't own your stuff and you don't have like a season pass that you're buying, it's minimum $300 a day to partake in that, and that's without all the terrible travel it takes to get up to Vail or whatever with all the ski traffic. So I'm somebody that doesn't like traffic. I like being outside, but I'm all about, you can tell in the way that I dress, I am all about comfort and leisure. And I just, I don't get out as much as I should. Lex is definitely the one that's like, let's get out, let's go do this, all of that. But I will
so this
say
is your hobby. So this is your hobby.
this is one of my hobbies, but
Okay.
a side that none of y'all see is I write poetry, man. I self-published a book a few years
quick.
ago.
Let me hear some poetry. We want to hear some David poetry.
Oh man.
Let's get a bar. No, go ahead. Just give me 4 bars. 4 bars. That you ain't got to go all into it. Just let me get here 4 bars real quick.
Let's see if I got a funny one, man.
4 of them.
Let me see if I can pull one up here, because it's been a little while since I've written. But I'm working on this book right now called Saint Judas, dude.
Look over
I'm
there,
Saint Judas,
they
baby.
about to start calling you John B out this man. You know who John B is, David?
Nah, who's John B?
John B. He a white R&B singer with the beard and all that. You know what I'm saying? I think he did a song with Tupac, if I'm not mistaken, back in the day. Somebody let me know in the chat, because I can't remember right off top, but I think he did do a joint with him. You know what I'm saying? But I know you could think like, so you don't ski. You don't do none of that. You're not an outdoors person. You hate camping. Absolutely hate camping, right? So
I sit there, I write, I listen to music, I watch a hell of a lot of trashy reality television. Right
now. So what you into? What kind of music you into? What's that? What's in your playlist? You got a little bit of everything?
Kind of. So, being a kid that was raised, of course, I was born in 92, so I'm like 31. Hopefully that gives you guys some context. So like growing up, I didn't listen to like a ton of like rap or hip hop, but I listened, of course, to like a lot of the popular like pop punk bands.
Okay.
All of that. And also metalcore. And I still listen to metalcore. I like metalcore a lot. Now, the way in which it's kind of like developed the genre, like I don't really listen to like newer stuff, but I'll listen to a lot of that stuff, that I used to listen to in like middle school and high school. But right now, I'll tell you this, Clarence, I didn't listen to much rap, but you know what changed it for me? You want to know what changed it for me? Was that my friend, my roommate, one of my roommates in college, Graham, huge like music head, man. He listens to everything. And we were living in a house. And I remember one night or whatever, I come back and we had like a really big room. So it was super big. So we actually shared this room. But so I walked back into like our bedroom and he's got this thing playing and it sounds like his fucking speakers are broken. And I'm like, oh my God, what is this? This is amazing. Whatever this is, I love this shit. You know what it was? It was Kanye West's Jesus, that like completely changed my like whole
Did it?
outlook
Okay.
on
Okay. Some yay.
rap. Because I
Okay.
mean, if you've listened to that song, the first intro song, what's it called? On Site, you know, it's
Yeah.
like, and there's like no drums. There's like no drums, but there's like a beat.
All that 808, all that 808 and beat with
Yeah,
that
man.
bass. Yeah.
And that
Okay.
album was so crazy. And you know, it's all Kanye stuff. So he's like saying like the most outrageous things. But man, I loved it. And it really got me into like a lot more like rap and hip hop. But
Okay.
man, I wish I could listen to that and have that feeling of like listening to it for the first time.
So let me
Yeah.
so there's like, so if you're gonna listen to that, right? I would say J. Cole, Nas, you say Kanye, you gotta
Mhm.
go Jay. I don't know who's the South. I like T.I. I like T.I., Jeezy, Gucci. I like a lot of them from the joint. But
Yeah.
yeah, but
21
if you going
Savage came to Abilene
oh,
when
you
he
like
wasn't that
21
big yet.
Savage? You
Yeah, I
like
like
21?
21.
All
Like,
right, all
here's
right.
what I'm listening to right
I want to
now.
hear them poetry bars. I want to hear them poetry
You
bars.
want
You
to hear
trying to
some
escape
poetry?
that. You trying to escape that. I want to hear them bars. But look,
Yeah, I'm trying to pull up a poem that I feel like won't like shit on our vibe too much.
nah, well, it's cool then.
Um,
It's cool. It's all right. It's all right. It's
It's
all
like the
good. Then
first book
we
that
can skip
I
that.
wrote, it had to do with a lot of
So you writing deep poetry then.
like
So
with
you
like
writing out
dealing with
deep.
grief and stuff like
Okay, all
that
right.
and
Okay.
loss and
Okay. All right.
my
So you
aunt
deep.
passed away when I had moved up here in
Oh,
our
Dave,
first
we don't
year.
want to do that then, Dave. We
But
don't want to do that,
yeah,
Dave. We could save that. We could save that, Dave. You know, we could save that. We don't want to do that. But yeah, that's so you deep with it then. All right. That's
yeah.
okay. So you writing some
I'm a
content.
funny
Okay.
guy, but I also got some some another side to me that you guys don't see, a contemplative one.
Well, see, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's look, it using a big word out this mother. That's what I'm saying. Like, you know, just to see who you is, man. There's a couple of people out here, man, that I would love to, you know what I'm saying, sit down and just chop it up and see and get to know them a little bit better. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like outside of the sports content creating space, you know. Because that's what it is, man. You know, and we got to learn to disagree. We have to be able to disagree with each other too, to our
No
face.
doubt.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to tell somebody as a man, you should be able to do that with another man. You shouldn't have to, you know what I mean, do it outside of it. You should be able to have that conversation and agree to disagree. Keep it moving, man. But man, look, that was great, man. Look, I mean, I don't think I missed anything. I mean, anybody else got some questions in the chat or whatever that for Dave, man, you
Yeah.
know, to go
I
with it.
mean,
But
I think Chubby I mean, I'm gonna promote myself. This might be
of
rude, but
course,
man,
oh
I
no,
would love
go ahead,
that. I
go
would
ahead,
love to
plug
come on
yourself.
again and
I
tell
didn't,
you some other crazy stories that I've experienced in life, like
nah,
my
go
birthday in Portland, man. That
How was that?
was
What happened in Portland? What happened in
you know,
Portland? Tell me. I want to know about it.
man. Okay, well, if you got 10 minutes, I can tell this story, but I got like other stories I can tell you. So
I got an hour. I got an hour. Let's go.
okay, I could probably go 15 minutes. So
All
we'll
right,
see
well,
how
go
this
ahead.
goes.
Go
But
ahead. Go
so
ahead,
you
man.
know
You
how
know
I was telling you that I was running this coffee business with my friend of mine,
Yeah.
and we were kind of working on this space, getting it ready for a brick and mortar location. And one of our main coffee roaster that we would serve at like our events and when we would pull up at different places downtown would be Heart Roasters out in Portland. So we had always kept a lot of good contact with them. They're my favorite roaster ever. So if you ever need to order some coffee, Heart Roasters, Portland, you can't go wrong. But they also did cafe training with some of their equipment and everything like that for people who are opening up cafes using their coffee. So, we're guys that are just, going there, trying to keep this thing on a simple budget. Yeah. And I'll put my book info out there here in a minute, but so we already had kind of figured out that this guy who's putting the money behind this business is like a liar. This guy's no good or whatever. And we had already kind of started talking to an attorney in the background, kind of knowing that like, man, this thing ain't probably going to work out, but we're going to go anyways, just in case to see what happens. And if we can get somebody else to invest.
Mm-hmm.
And But anyways, this guy had told us that he would pay for our flights out there. And I wanted to make sure that he was good for it. So, man, I told him that they were like, $1,200 total or whatever, man. And he gave me that straight cash, and I just took that thing. And, we pocketed a little bit, for ourselves, but ultimately, that helped cover our plane costs, food, different things like that, which was great. But we were trying to keep this cheap again. We're two broke entrepreneurs or whatever. And so we're like, we don't want to go to an Airbnb. I've had some friends that when they've backpacked or, done stuff in Europe,
Y'all about to go camping.
they,
That's why you don't like it. No,
they've done this app called Couch Surf.
Yeah.
And so the premise of it is it should be, just normal people like myself that just want to be nice to people staying on that are traveling on a budget, don't want to spend money. Hey, we got an extra room, you can crash with us for a few days, that type of thing. So it's like a really bad Airbnb with no money, that type of thing. But maybe you make a friend along the way. Okay. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to try this. So I pull up this app or whatever, sign up for an account, and I'm going through a bunch of the profiles, and I'm trying to find somebody, that's kind of in our proximity to Heart Roasters there in Portland. I've never been to Portland, by the way.
All right.
And I'm trying to find who has the most like highest reviews and like would stay again, stars and stuff like that. And I come across this guy. His name is Thilo. I'm like, okay, like, all right, kind of, interesting name. I haven't heard that before. Thilo. Thilo. Yeah. All right. Like, seems, interesting. But anyways, I'm looking at his profile, and it seems like him and his friends, and roommates, they're all just really cool people. The house that they live in is really nice. It's got nice hardwood floors. It's got clean white walls and all this stuff. And, there were photos of them with certain guests that came to stay with them, with them like making Jello shots or like barbecuing out back and whatnot. And so I think, this is,
was a vibe.
Yeah. Like this is going to be like really cool. Right. So I go ahead and I message Thilo saying, hey, we're going to be in town next week. Could we crash with you? Yada, yada, yada. And he hits me back with, hey, David, would absolutely love to have you out here. Yeah, you can definitely stay with us. We might have another guest, but we have plenty of room. Right. So we agree to it. Then I hit him up and I say, hey, or I hit him up like a day before we fly out, and I say, hey, are we still good to stay? And he's like, yes, can't wait to have you here, yada, yada, yada. And then he ends the conversation with he. Like,
what?
Ha, 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 but like he.
Like the evil witch laugh, not like the like the like that, like not the
and so that was the first instance that I'm like, well, something is not right with this. But I mean, the guy looks so cool. He has 45 would stay again reviews. Like, surely it was just a typo, an auto correction, something like that, right? So, anyways, if you don't live in a city, you know how exhausting it can be to fly somewhere. So. The night before, we had driven 3 hours to stay with my friend in Fort Worth, who then drove us to the airport that next morning for like a 6 a.m. flight to LAX, and then from LAX up to Portland. So we're like flying all day, me and my friend Daniel. And, by the time we land, man, like, I mean, we're hungry. It's like maybe 3 or like 2 o'clock in the afternoon, right?
Yeah.
So I'll kind of skip past this part, but Daniel's from West Texas. So this was like his first time like ever
traveling,
kind of traveling in this way or like using public transit. And so again, I'm trying to save money. So I'm like, man, well, we can just hit the light rail to downtown Portland, and then we can just hop on this bus and it'll take us over to Thilo's house. Like, it's going to be easy. Right. We don't have to spend like the $60 or whatever it will take. Whatnot. Well, Daniel Daniel and I got separated. When I got off the light rail, I guess he thought that these trains stopped for a long time, and I didn't realize that. And so he was just sitting down, taking his sweet ass time, like
So you
getting his
left him?
backpack ready. And so we got separated, man. Because I got off the train, and then the train like went. So like, anyways, I'm trying to direct him on getting back in touch and getting him on the right train and the right bus, all this stuff. All that to say, man, it's like another exhausting 2-hour situation for us to get on the right bus to go to Thylo's house. And then you know what happened, man? My dumbass got us on the wrong bus, going on the wrong direction after all that. And I just said, you know what? Screw it, man. We're just gonna get the Uber and get to this place, right? Because we're
So you wind
exhausted.
up wasting the money anyway.
Yeah. So this is how I become a person that's just all about convenience and comfort. Like I've tried to do this before. I've tried to be the expert navigator, the expert penny pincher. Nah, man. So anyways, I let Thylo know, hey, we're gonna be at your house, around 4:30 or so. You want to go grab some dinner or whatnot? And he's like, hey, I'm still at work, but I'll be home soon after that. My roommate should be home, all that. And he's like, can't wait to have you here. He.
Again?
Dude, he dropped the he again. So I'm like I'm like definitely like not feeling right with this. I'm like, all right, like this guy's kind of weird. He's kind of off, whatever.
Yeah.
So we get to this house in Portland, and it's I don't know if you've ever seen like It, the movie It, like the remakes. It kind of looked like one of those houses before it was like totally haunted, like, and it's like pre-haunted days. So yeah. So you got to walk up though. It's like in a hilly area. So you got to walk up probably 20, 25 steps to get to the actual house in this neighborhood. Concrete steps.
Oh, so you thinking about it every step you take? You just looking up, just thinking about this shit. Like, about this.
We got our bags, we got our backpacks and suitcases with us, like all this thing. We get to the top, and it's just there's this big porch that goes across the whole front way, and it's chilling on the porch, a naked mannequin. Which I mean, I just see that, and I'm like, okay, this is just Portlandia stuff. This is the Portland experience, and I'm not thinking really anything outside of that. Like, this is kind of weird, right? Well, then we knock on the door, right? Nobody comes, even though Thylo said some people would be home, right?
Right.
So he knocks again, and I see that there's a window open down the porch.
Yeah.
So I walk over there and I poke my head in, and I see like this dude.
See, that's like, when they calling the police on my black ass. But keep going. Keep going.
This is definitely what white people do. Just always getting into everybody's business. So I poke my head in there, and I see this like kid. I mean, he must have been honestly maybe just a few years younger than me at the time. So maybe he's like 20, 21 years old. And I'm guessing he's like high, in some sort. I don't know what he's on, but I'm like, hey man, like we're here to stay with Thylo. And like, he just replies something completely like incoherent to me. And I'm like, all right, it's a little weird. But then while that's going on, Chubby, the front door opens, and there's like this stoned like 18-year-old babysitter and like this toddler, man, that are like right there greeting us, and we're like, what the heck? And they're like come on in or whatever, super stoned. And I was so fixated on trying to get this guy's attention when I poked my head through the window to look in the room,
right,
that I didn't notice what this place looked like, dude. And as I stepped in, dude, my heart just sank, man, because the space looked nothing like it did on the app, on the Couchsurf app. It was terrifying, man. My heart just sank. The floors were disgusting. They were dirty. There were bugs flying everywhere. But this is where things take an interesting turn. None of the walls were white like in the photos. None of the ceilings were clean like in the photos. Every single inch was filled with like acid art, man. It was like if somebody had a
Ooh.
bad trip to Alice in Wonderland, man, and they were documenting their journey with illustrations all over this house. And we are just like, what do we do? This is weird. So anyways, we continue to walk into the house a little bit, put our bags down, and we ask the babysitter, hey, where is the bathroom?
Stylo.
Like, we got to use the bathroom,
Where's
right?
Stylo at?
She's like, yeah, where's Stylo at, right? So she's like, it's upstairs. So we have to go through the kitchen to get to the stairwell. Dude, kitchen was disgusting, man. There were
Oh, it's time.
flies everywhere. There
Oh,
were
it's time to go.
weeks worth of
It's time to
dishes
go.
piled up, man.
Time to go.
And again, acid art all over. So we
Yeah.
walk through there. We then walk upstairs, man. And I guess this was like a, I don't know. Maybe this is like what a trap house looks like or whatever. But you go up the
Trap house
stairs.
is cleaner. It sound like it. It sound like a trap house is cleaner than that. But go ahead, continue.
So you go upstairs, right? And all the rooms, man, look the same. Like not one bedroom has like a bed frame. It's just a mattress on there, and it's like a murder scene in every single room, man. There's newspapers and papers everywhere, clothes all over the place, acid art on all the walls. Same thing with this little bathroom, right? So I use the bathroom, then Daniel uses the bathroom. I come back into the kitchen. I'm waiting for him, and I just know that like this place is not the place for us. Like we're gonna get our stuff stolen. like once we leave to go to our training at Heart Roasters, like this is not gonna work out, right? So I'm like looking up Airbnbs. Then Daniel comes down and he says, hey dude, like look at that. And he points towards this door, and it's written in the middle of the door, enter and you'll become a butterfly.
What? Hold up. Well, so what? Oh hell nah, that's crazy. Oh no, that's crazy. See, I'm out. I'm out right then and there. I'm out of there. You can't.
Yeah.
No.
So I look at Daniel and he kind of gives me this look because he's like more into horror movies, right? So he's like, dude, I'm gonna open up that door. He's like, he opens up the door. He's like, it's the basement, man. I'm like, dude, fuck that,
Nah,
man.
we out.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
said I'm gonna be looking for Airbnbs while you go do that. So
He went down there.
yes. So all this
See.
all this next part is from Daniel's what he told me. So he walks down there. He's using his iPhone as a flashlight because it's like a half finished basement. Okay.
Yeah.
So there's like some different drywalls up and some different rooms and doors and stuff
I
like that, but
understand.
nothing's finished, right? And he can't find like a light. So again, his line of sight is just in the with what he can see from the iPhone. So he
Right.
goes to this first room and opens up the door. It's just an empty room, concrete floor, all that. So then this is where things get really weird. He sees this other door and he goes over to it. And again, like it could have been coincidence.
In the
Like
basement?
it could, yeah. But he came over to this door because written on the front of the door, in that same kind of handwriting that said enter and you'll become a butterfly,
Right.
it said, hi, Daniel. And that's my friend's name.
You're nah.
So, and this is like 4:30, 4:45. Maybe it's closer to 5 o'clock, I guess. Yeah, right now, like in the evening.
Oh.
And he opens up that door, man, and he shines his light in there. And he said there was like 3-4 people, dude, just like passed the hell out there on the concrete floor. And it was like he was like waking them up. So he like runs upstairs to me,
in
dude.
the high house. That's where y'all was at. Y'all was in the high house.
So he runs up to me. He goes, David, they got bodies downstairs, man. We gotta get out of here. And I'm like, oh my God. I was like, well, they got people up front. They got that guy up front, man. We can't go out the front. And I didn't know where the garage was or anyway, but I'm like, here, let's grab our bags and grab our shit and get out through the back, right? At this same time, man, I get another text from Thilo saying, "Be home soon." He. And I'm like, man, I I tell Daniel, I said, man, we got to get out of here because, dude, I said, this motherfucker somehow is going to convince us to stay or force us to stay. I was like, we got to get out of here, man. We got to get out of here. So we grab our suitcases, right?
Yeah.
And our backpacks, man, and we bolt out the back door. Oh my God, dude. Dude, out the back door in the backyard, it was like a 9-foot security fence, man. I ran around that whole fence in the backyard, dude. There was not one door to let you out of this backyard, man. And you couldn't get over it. I'm like, oh my God.
No.
I was like, we're so screwed, right?
Wow.
And I promise I'm wrapping this up, but anyways, we grab our stuff and we just run through the
Always
front
go
door, dude.
when you go somewhere, when you go somewhere where you don't know, you always go back the way you came. That's what you don't never go somewhere the fuck.
No,
You always go back. Go ahead and finish.
so it was creepy, man. And so we end up like just running past the people that were in the front living room. And
Yeah.
I have an Uber come pick us up like 3 blocks down because I'm like, I'm not going to have this guy. I'm not going to be standing up here by the sidewalk if I was going to pull up. I'm like, who knows what this guy's doing? And anyway, so our Uber's coming to pick us up, right? And Thilo, I text Thilo, dude. I'm like, dude, fuck you, man. I was like, I don't know who the fuck you are, but yeah, I was like, I was like, I don't know why you're lying to us. I was like, this place looks nothing like what you were saying. Like, what is wrong with you and all this stuff? And then, dude, he starts calling me and texting me incessantly. He's like, I just wanted a friend. I was like, I can't believe you're not giving me a second chance. I just wanted to make some new friends. It was like really strange behavior. And anyways, thank God the Uber picked us up, right?
Yeah.
And we just say, man, just take us to Deschutes Brewery, man. So we get there to Deschutes Brewery, hadn't eaten all day, drinking some beers, eating some food, and we're just like, wow, man, that was crazy. And I was starting to think like, man, like maybe those guys were doing like heroin or something down there because I think like you probably need like a cold space to like do it, dark cold space. Like I mean, I don't really know, but it was like makes sense to have the babysitter. I'm like, should I call CPS because that kid? Nah. But I just want to forget about it. But anyways. Daniel's like, well,
wouldn't even took the baby. They take babies from people who don't even need to take their babies from, and they let shit like that slide. But
it was crazy. So, but Daniel asked me, he's like, well, you read the reviews, right? And I was like, yeah. He's like, but then it clicked with me. I like saw the 45 would stay agains, but I didn't actually like read the reviews.
Oh, wow.
And so then we opened up the app, dude, and we read those reviews. Man, major red flags. Like if you ever watch those cult documentaries on Netflix, it's exactly like how all those people in the cults talk about their leader. Oh, wow, I've never met anybody more enlightened than Thilo. I've never met anybody more attractive than Thilo. Like coming here totally changed my life, and I will, I am so grateful for Thilo. I've never been around somebody so intelligent that has changed my life. And they were all that way. So, I don't know. I don't know.
Man, but that's how they catch people with them weird ads like that. Y'all gotta watch them weird ads out there and stuff like that, man. That's
so I mean, I don't know if he was just there to like, pawn our stuff for heroin or to like tie us up and do some kinky shit to us in the basement. I mean, the thing I was asking Daniel is like, we know where your room is going to be. Like, where was my room? Where was my room going to be? It's so interesting.
He was gonna make you the bottom one. He was gonna make you his bottom bitch. He was gonna be in the bed with that.
But anyways, that was the last time I used that app, and now I pay for nice Airbnbs. We got a little nice Airbnb that we stayed in.
Okay. Nice.
At that, it ended up working out. But all that to say, man, hey, couch surf, man, never use it, man. You don't know what might be crawling up on you in the middle of the night.
So plug your stuff, man. Hey Dave, man, plug your don't forget to plug your book, because we got people out there that's interested in your book, and plug all your social medias, man, before we get on up out of here, Dave.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I'm David Talks Buffs on all platforms. David Talks Buffs is on Spotify. David Talks Broncos is also on YouTube and Spotify. And let me make sure my website's still live for my book. That's probably an important thing. So, yes, it is davidmneal.com. You can throw it. I don't have the chat open, so I'll put it in the private chat and you can post it.
Okay.
But there it is. If you guys like poetry, this was an important thing for me. And hey, now I'm coming out with this other book at some point soon called St. Judas that I feel like is a lot better of poetry. So
I put the link to his book in the comments. So if anybody wants his link, I'll put the link in there, man. Hey, this was dope, man. This was fun, man. Hey, yo, congratulations on getting on Spotify, bro. I enjoyed this, man. I did, man. You know, sometimes it feels good to, just unwind a little bit. Now we know who David is. This just make us even mess with you even more. Want to tune in even more now. You know what I'm saying? Nah, for real, man, because we don't claim to be some experts in this at all. You know what I mean?
no.
We just some guys that know their sport. Like, that's all.
I try to, man. I'm just an everyday person, just like everybody else watching. I just, put the camera in front of myself for all my shenanigans.
All right. Yeah, man. Hey, man, I can't thank you enough for the opportunity you gave me, man. This is the guy for everybody that watches me on my channel. Also, I appreciate all the support that we got out there. Rawhide came through, Alfaru came through, Mo Banks came through, LMV came through. Everybody, a lot of people, my normal 11 came through, Shad came through. I appreciate everybody that came through, man. On all the support, man. For real. He put me on though. Dave, you know what I'm saying, gave me my first shot out here when a lot of people wouldn't. So he means a lot to me, y'all. Like, he really do. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because when a lot of other people would not give me the opportunity or the chance to try to grow my audience, he did. And he didn't look at the fact that he didn't have nothing to gain from me. Nothing. Absolutely nothing to gain from me. He was like, I still want you on. You dope. I like it. And that's real. Like, so you want to talk about somebody real, authentic? Dave is that person, man. So we just got to know him, and hopefully somebody else will come up on here and we'll get to know them too. So thank y'all for tuning in today, man. Once again, plug your stuff again, man, so they get it again.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Chubby. Yeah. Follow me, David Talks Buffs, if you like Broncos. David Talks Broncos. I got 38 subs, trying to get to 100 in like a month, so we'll see. But the prime effect is real with growing these YouTube channels. But yeah, I love what you're doing, Chubby. We'll get on again soon and talk some Buffs, talk some football, and I can't wait to see who you get on next. I like this little segment.
Yeah, I like this too, dog. I like this too. All right, appreciate y'all, man. Peace out. All right.